And then once the fight actually starts, I want you to start moving to a different angle. Hey guys, it's Kai. I'm a top 500 player, and today I wanted to break down this gold Ana VOD and pinpoint exactly what's holding them back. We'll be going into their positioning, their cooldown usage, awareness, all the fundamentals that separate players who are stuck from those who want to climb. And if you're stuck too, you might be making the same mistakes. Let's get into it. Alright, to start off, I'm going to explain how you actually carry on Ana. So there's three main things you want to do on Ana. You want to constantly be doing damage. You want to heal people when they're going to die if you don't heal them. This doesn't mean you have to heal them all the time at a full HP. It just means you need to heal someone if they actually need healing. And number three, you want to use your cooldowns often and aggressively, but make sure you're not rushing them. Throughout this game, I'm going to go through and showcase some examples of when this player rushed, when this player didn't rush. I'm going to go through all of that. So, first off, this player should not be on cart, but that's the thing I'll go over later. I want to talk about nano usage. Nano is pretty simple. You want to use it when someone's in a position to do a lot of damage, if they're about to die, or rarely if you need the nano boost for yourself and you've got the strike perk, which gives you the self nano. So here, I'd say this is an opportunity where you could have nanoed the monkey, because I'm a big advocate for being, aggressive and like taking the initiative with your cooldowns. If you see your monkey jump and you know there's people up here, you can probably assume he's going to jump to do some damage. So you see monkey, had you nanoed him, he would have been able to go on this Ash and then kill him pretty fast. Obviously, he kills him anyway. Actually, no, he does. Oh, okay, he does. So he kills him anyway. But the idea is that you want to see someone in an aggressive position and automatically go, oh, wait, I can probably nano that. Because here, me personally, Monkey's looking at Lifeweaver. He's up top. I'm pretty sure he's going to jump. I see him jump, I'm going to nano. Right? Now, on to the next part. Why are we on the payload? We do not want to be on the payload. The reason why we don't want to be on the payload is because where do you think the fight is going to be? The fight is going to be on the payload. So we don't want to be on the payload because then we're going to be in the middle of the fight. Now, you have to forgive me because I do not have a thing. So yeah, we don't want to be in the middle of the payload because this is where the fight's going to converge. This is where people are going to be. There's a bunch of different positions we could maybe be in. If we wanted to be aggressive, we could be on this platform, shoot people from this hallway all the way down here. And then when people drop onto the cart, they have to make a choice. They have to force us out over here, which takes a lot of time. Or they just have to walk cart, and now we're on a separate angle looking into the fight. We're not in the fight, we're looking into the fight. And it also puts you in a safer position, kind of away from the Reaper, who forced you away from the cart, and now you have to walk back in open space. Or maybe we could just take, if you wanted to be safe, you could play up here, you could play over here, over here, over here, over here if you're feeling a bit risky. But you don't really want to be on the cart ever as Ana, especially in this kind of time frame where they're actually able to touch and there's going to be a guaranteed fight happening on the cart. Okay, I just wanted to quickly point something out about being aggressive and taking the initiative with using cooldowns. So as you can see, earlier I talked about nanoing the monkey about 250. The player still has the same nano that he got around this time, which means they've had this nano for about two minutes, right? In that time, you could have charged up another nano and then also used one before. Let's say you didn't nano the monkey when he jumped up onto the Ash. You could have nanoed them there, and then you probably would have been able to build another one by the time you nanoed the monkey here. Now, this is a pretty good nano. Monkey's in, aggressive. You can see the enemies. You can see them. Widow's over here. Weaver's close enough. So, it's a good nano. I like it. Solid nano. I like this. And then we throw the nade. I like that. Boom. Nice nade. You got two. Now, Brick's dead. Good stuff. Good sleep. And here, I don't know why we're not moving forward. The enemies are down two, and they're walking backwards. Like, we need to not be here. What I would do, right? I'd say, let's see what's going on here. So, I'd say as soon as I go for the sleep on the hog, and I see them all moving back, I see my monkey jump in, I'm immediately just moving forward. I'm moving forward, right? Because what's happening, right? They're all moving back. They're getting pressured. We can keep putting on the pressure, but then, oh, I'm still just over here. I can't see jack shit, right? And then, I get it. You're playing safe. You're not dying, and that's great. But it doesn't matter if you're not dead if you're also not shooting. Like I said at the start of this VOD, you always want to do damage whenever possible. Another thing, Swish, I've noticed just in this, like in these 5 minutes, you really haven't used your cooldowns that much. Like I'm pretty sure like that sleep on the hog you did was like 1 out of like 3 sleeps you've done in the past 5 minutes. Pretty sure. So again, want to be using cooldowns as much as possible. Basically off cooldown. And the way you do that is you put yourself in a position to be able to actually land the cooldowns. Obviously, like you want to be safe and stuff, and all that jazz. Good sleep. So I like this. We see an enemy. He's getting aggressive. We're gonna use our sleep to kind of take the pressure off our teammates. And now he's got to back up. And this is great. Good stuff. Wonderful. And then you can see. I want you to try as soon as we have our nade back. I want you to try and look for an opportunity to nade. So we have nade. Now I would like for you to try and walk forward, try and look for something. I know the Reaper's up there, but he's not as threatening as you think he is right now. Because like imagine, you like walk up a little bit, close to cover, go for the nade on the hog. What's the worst that can happen? Reaper's gonna drop down 1v5. He might kill you, maybe. But I highly doubt it. He gets 1v5 and he just dies. You're actually pretty safe. Or maybe you could go to this door which is like safe from this Reaper, and then you can just nade the hog. You don't need to back up all this way just because there's one Reaper. And I think you're kind of understanding that. So you try to talk forward. Nade. And you have sleep as well. We need to use sleep. Again, we're just not using sleep for some reason. I'm not sure why. Because we have sleep, we need to use it. Now I will admit, if there's one cooldown I would rather you use more than the other, it's definitely nade. But obviously, you still want to use sleep and nade as much as possible, not just one of them. Again, this is another example of you not wanting to be on the car. You don't want to be on the car. This is the worst position you could be in as Ana. Imagine you were over here, or maybe you were over here on this bridge. Or you are even over here, down here. It doesn't really matter. You could be literally anywhere except for the payload. Because now you're in the middle of the fight. And what did I say about being on the payload before? Well, this is where, should they touch, this is where they're going to converge. This is where the fight's going to be. And you put yourself in danger because the Ashe actually bobbed and you could have died. I know it's pretty winnable. But imagine if there was more people. You would have gotten annihilated. Completely decimated it. I would rather you be somewhere else so that you can stand on like the ring around the car looking into the fight, not being in the fight. Because that's just what suits your character. You don't want to be close range most of the time. You want to be somewhere looking into the people, moving away from dangerous targets like people who are going to be over here. Here we bar, so Bob's here. Don't know why we tree, but you can't control your teammates' keyboards. Honestly, you don't even need to nade Bob. You can just sleep him and then have your team shoot him. Because like nading him is such like a pointless thing. Because he just has so much health, right? So just sleep him, make sure he's not shooting your team, and then you can just kill him. So yeah, we should have slept Bob this whole time. Again, we're just not using a piece of our kit. But yeah, we've reached the end of the second point, and I've just noticed you don't really play very aggressive. You're quite a passive player. You like to sit in the back, like you do damage and you do use your nade sometimes, but you could be taking so many angles, doing so much more damage because now what's happened is you don't really have a lot of uptime, which means you don't really have a lot of effect on the game. And uptime, by the way, is just the amount of damage you can put out. So if you have more uptime, then you're doing more, meaning the enemies are pressured more. That's just more like things you're doing in the game. And here, this is a moment that interested me. So you land a really big nade, like you get free. Winston starts to move forward, what I would personally do is I would, and like especially now that they're down one, I would either start to move forward over here, like literally walk closer to the hog over here because they're moving back. Or if you're really not filling up to like be in that dangerous position, you could already start wrapping around on like on the right, and then as the enemies are like backing up from this room, you're on a nice off angle. And off angle, by the way, is just a separate point of pressure from your team. So if we go to their POV right now, they're both looking at the Winston. They wouldn't even know there's an Ana over here until she starts shooting, and then by the time she's shot, then they're gonna die. So you could go onto this off angle, follow up on the pressure your Winston's creating because he's going on the people you naded, and then you would be able to do a lot of stuff. But instead, you know, you're just kind of playing very passive. You're just kind of, you know, you're just taking pictures for Google Map, as my friends would say. You know, you're just walking around taking pictures for Google Map. You're bashing kills too. Winston's got people on him. We need to be moving forward. We need to go. You see the W key on your keyboard? I want you to press it towards the enemies. And again, we're just standing still. We're standing still, doing nothing. Here, we're pinging for the Winston to come back, and I get it. Like you're scared of your tank feeding, but what most tanks are doing, it is feeding. Yes, usually most tanks in gold are feeding, but it's only really feeding because his team doesn't really move forward to try and capitalize. Do you see how your Widow and your Life Weaver have moved forward because the enemies are moving back, and they're now able to kind of help the Winston a little bit. But you're sat over here doing nothing, and then you're the one getting mad at the Winston for quote unquote feeding, but you're the one feeding. You're the one doing nothing. So, you know, I'm not trying to roast, but I want you to understand that like we can move forward. Like you're allowed to move around the places on the map, especially if the enemy team are down like 2-3. We can move forward and actually help people out. You know, we can walk on this high ground, shoot Juno, maybe he'll Winston a bit, and then we're good. What I don't want to see is us sat in the back AFK, because that's not good uptime. So we fast forward a little bit. In the replay, we can see the hog coming here. I don't know if you knew he was there. I don't think you did. So let's analyze. Hog is just hooked Bastion. Bastion's about 250 health right now. What should our first reaction be? Exactly. Sleep, nade, he's dead. What actually happens is we don't use our cooldowns for a couple of seconds. We panic and we rush the nade. We don't heal the Bastion and we don't use the sleep. So what should have happened in that situation is this. So we drop, we see the hog. We should be immediately going for a sleep. I'm not saying you have to hit it. Just see the hog. He's a big target. Aim at him. Sleep. And then, obviously, you and Bastion are going to shoot him once he wakes up. And then you're going to anti him. He dies here. Ana Bastion shits on hog every day of the week. That's what should happen. But this is what happened. Because you weren't proactive or like with your cooldowns. And it was almost like an afterthought. Where it's like, you know, Bastion's like low. Oh wait, I can nade the hog. Oh, Bastion's dead. I missed the nade, and then the hog gets out for free. You gotta have it in your mind that I see an enemy, I throw cooldown at him. He gets fucked. He has to run away or die. So a couple things. One, I don't like this nano. I don't like this nano because he wasn't in a good position to actually do damage. If we look at this from his POV, he can barely see the backline. The hog's in front of him. Even if he jumps forward like into their team, they're gonna be able to quickly react and get out. So we can't really do anything with this nano. Two, you're kind of in open space. I would prefer if you moved back a couple steps and you went here. You would have the same angle basically, but you would just have some better cover. And then depending on how the fight went, you would have an easy route to disengage back, or you can maybe go through this hallway, and then you would be able to open up the angle onto the backline here, if they did move back. So yeah, instead of nanoing him now, I personally just wait for the Winston to jump in, see where he's going. You'll see that he's going on people, and then you nano, because preemptively nanoing does two things. It puts the player in a bad spot because now they feel like they have to get value from the nano, and they might force out things that aren't necessarily good. Or you're gonna nano, the player doesn't force out a play because they might see it as too dangerous, and then the nano just goes to waste. So always try and wait for someone to actually be in a good position to do damage before you nano. And like I said just a couple of seconds ago, the reason why I would want you to back up into this room is one, it gets you out of open space, and two, it gives you more distance. You did not realize that there was a Reaper up here because you're so close. You actually can't see him because of the cover that this high ground gives. But had you gone into this little room, you probably would have seen him, and then you would have been able to walk to the right, walk away from him, creating distance from him. But instead, right, let's watch this from here. So Reaper's up top, you don't know he's there, he shoots, and then he blossoms, and you die. Unfortunate, but maybe if you're positioned a bit better, if you're paying a bit more attention, easy, you can escape easily. Okay, so we're doing damage, healing Winston, and then you see that the Ashe gets booped in. This is great, okay, good stuff. I like that. We did damage. We used our cooldowns at some point. I don't remember when. Just one little nitpick. You wouldn't have got hooked if you would just move back a couple of spaces. One, because you would have been further away from the hog and it would have been harder for him to actually hook you. Two, even if you did go for the hook, you would see him and then you would use cover and you would just dodge the hook. And the only reason you live is because he's not a better player. I want you to understand, you will die here 100% of the time if you get hooked like that in a higher rank. But then I think other than that, you just kind of lose the fight and then the round's over. Okay, that's fine. Okay round. I'd say you play pretty passive. You don't really use your cooldowns a lot, but let's say you do some damage. You do keep people alive, which is great. But other than that, you're quite passive. Let's see what the second round has to bring us. All right, let's see how this fight goes. So they bob. Okay, we heal hog a bit. Okay, good sleep. I like that. Here, I would have preferred you to nade the echo here. So I like this. Shoot hog, and then sleep bob. I would have preferred if you would have naded the echo because your hog's fine. He doesn't need healing. You're only going to use a healing nade if someone's absolutely going to die if you don't. But right now, we could probably throw a nade at Echo, or maybe even Ashe, but probably just the Echo. It would force her out much faster, and then she would have to wait to re-engage. Nano, it's okay. Like, again, I'm not going to criticize the nanos too much. I'm just glad you're actually using them. Because then you can always go into a VOD after the game and go, oh yeah, this nano was kind of crap. Understand why it was kind of bad. Oh, teammate wasn't ready, blah blah blah. But that doesn't matter. I like that you use nano because he's getting aggressive, and I think he does get a few kills here. So yeah, he kills Ashe. That's great. So we shoot Echo. She sees us. We move a bit. This is important, by the way. Remember this. So good nade, but it was slightly rushed. You didn't actually mean to get that hit because it got the bounce. Just if you waited just half a second to slightly move up your crosshair a bit, actually line up, you might have gotten the Echo and the Mercy in one nade. But she still dies, so it's fine. Good stuff. Good shots. And then we die. So why do we die? This is a really important lesson that I want to teach Mr. Swish. Mr. What's your name on Reddit? Okay, Swish. Mr. Swish. This is probably the most important lesson you'll learn in this video. So we're here and we see the Echo. And I'm gonna speed this up. So shoot Echo, we shoot. So now she knows that we're in this position. She knows we're stood here. And then after a while, we get focused on a hog. We need to heal the hog. Oh, and then we're bombed and we're dead. Why did this happen? Why are we dead here? Well, let's watch this. I just want to show you. This won't take too long. So Echo sees you. Echo knows you're here. The reason why you died here is because when the Echo saw you, you didn't think to move. You kind of just assumed you were safe. And now the Echo's looking back whilst you're distracted. And then she flies above you on an off angle. And because you're still in the same place, you die. So the lesson here is that when someone sees you, kind of on an angle, that's usually a good sign for you to switch it up. right? So let's say, sorry, I'm just trying to find a good spot. So let's say from here, when you see Echo rotate away, like we shoot back, like we shoot her a bit. Let's say we moved, we don't have to move anywhere crazy. Just change angle a little bit, move a little further from the Echo. Because now the Echo wouldn't exactly know where we are, we would be in a bit of a safer position. In short terms, we want to be constantly moving according to like the danger, what angles we like actually can use to shoot and heal people. We really want to stand still in Overwatch. Standing still in Overwatch is a recipe for disaster. Because look how easy this was for Echo, right? Like she could just fly, kill you, easy. Now, sure, she did die, but that's because she played that poorly. But the point is, you just don't want to be standing still for too long. All right, so we're coming back from spawn. We kind of rushed the nade there. Instead of kind of anticipating like where the Orisa was gonna move, we just chucked it in the general direction. No thoughts. We just chucked it over there. Hope for the best. And then we also didn't try and use sleep on the Mercy here as well. And again, we're scoped in for a very long time. Stood in the same position for a while. The same thing almost happened to you. Literally the same thing. You almost died in the same way because you're sat in the same position for so long, scoping. You become tunnel visioned on what you're looking at, and you kind of forget that there's like other players like on the map that can kill you. The longer you're in a position, the more likely it is for the people to converge on you and actually start like pressuring you and killing you. Oh, this fight. Okay, this fight was really interesting to watch for me. So, we're sat on the high ground, we're doing God's work, we're shooting Mercy, we're doing great stuff. I'm liking this. We're shooting Echo. We're doing bits. We shoot Juno. Maybe we could use some cooldowns, but you know what? It's all good. We're shooting, we're killing people. This is great. This is where things start to go wrong. So you can't see the hog. He's critical. You also can't see any enemies. So this is now a bad angle because you just can't see fucking anything. This is shit. So what happens now? You see Orisa's ulting. What happens? We're gonna drop for some reason, and now everything's just fucked. I think from here everything just got fucked. Hog died, and then everything was just fucked. But that's not the important part. The important part is what you did before and what you could have done. So I'd say in this moment after you killed Juno, I would look to the left and go, crap, I can't see anyone. Really, really, really easy adjustment to make. Just move to this window. Because now we're going to watch from this window. You've had both your cooldowns. You could have just gone to this window, been able to heal the hog. You would have been able to nade the Orisa when she peeked the corner, sleep, and you probably could have stopped the hog from dying here. But instead, where are we? Nowhere, and then we drop into the danger zone, and then I'm going to show you quickly just what happens. So Mercy's feeding. And just imagine if we were still up top. I'm gonna show you. So we shoot Mercy, and that's great, but we could have done that from the top angle, so cool. We nade the Mercy, and that's great. Could have done that from the top angle. But what really is the problem here is that you let Bastion die, and you had Nano. Imagine if you were up here. I'm gonna just show you what you would have seen if you were up here. So you can shoot this Mercy for free because you're on high ground. Easy stuff. You would see that the Bastion is actually low and that you can nano him because he's shooting people and he's getting low. So really good nano, but nope, he dies. And then you nade the Mercy. You could have done that from up here, having an easier time because of the arc of the nade. And then you die to the Bastion because you're just kind of down here. Or the Echo, sorry. And then after that, team loses the fight. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that you losing that fight is completely on you. All because you believed you had to drop. But you didn't. You could have just stayed up here, rotated between these two angles, and then you would have carried the fight. And I don't want you to take this in a harsh way. I want to show you the actual consequences of kind of not thinking about what we're doing. about not realizing that you don't have to fully drop. You just got to switch up an angle a little bit, like I showed up top. Like, instead of dropping, we just had to move from here to here. Very simple choice, but it could have changed the outcome of this fight. Also, from about 1358, you've had nano this whole time. I've already gone over the fact that you could have used it on the Bastion, and then you would have already been able to start farming up another nano. But that's, you know, whatever, bygones be bygones. But you had nano up until about this point in time. About a minute and a half later is where we finally used nano, and it wasn't even that good. Why is it not good? Well, it's the same thing as I said before. He's not in a great position to do damage. Oh, you know, granted, you landed the good nade, which made the enemies move back, which let him move forward. But I personally would have waited just a little bit longer for him to actually be a little bit more forward, be in a more aggressive position. Or, you know, easy way to see if you want to nano a hog. Just wait for him to land a hook and then nano him before he shoots. But here, you know, good stuff. He just walks forward. Yeah, it's like it's a fine nano. I just wish you would have nanoed sooner, because you could have had another nano by this point. Also, another just, you know, another thing, like I said, you're quite a passive player. You like to sit in the back and shoot, and that's not horrible, but that's gonna stop working by the time you get to about diamond, right? Maybe even plat. Instead of sitting in the back, I want you to rotate onto these stairs, because now this creates an off angle, and it's a good angle because they now have to look away from the hog and at you to kill you. You've got decent cover, and you can rotate either forward if they want to get if they get forced back, or, you know, you're still able to move back a little bit back to this car if they move forward. Like, it's not a dangerous position. It's aggressive, but it's safe. And you know, you still win this game. You know, spoiler, they do still win this game. But it's just little things like that. Thinking about, oh, you know, when can I take this off angle to help out my team and put some pressure on. So, this video was all over the place. I do apologize for that. I've got 3 things that I kind of want you to focus on. Number 1, just try and use your cooldowns more often. Don't rush them, but just take a moment to just see the enemy, quickly aim it. You know, it takes half a second to a second. Aim it, line it up, and then just use it. Also, use your nano boost more often. Even if you think it's bad, after the fact, it's fine. You'll learn in time how to use it better, but I want you to get in the reps. You'll get stronger and stronger at using nano the more you use it. Second of all, I want you to try and off angle more. Off angles aren't a super complicated thing. It's literally just once the fight starts, you know, let's say you're playing main, you know, everything's fine, and then once the fight actually starts, I want you to start moving to a different angle, because it's a surprising place for the enemies to, like, not expect you to be, and then you can get some shots off, and then when they see you, like I said earlier, I want you to disengage back to safety. And then number 3 is about rotating. So first, when an enemy sees you, like that echo earlier, when an enemy sees you and they can actually kill you, I want you to move away to a different place. But also, like on this bridge before, if you can't see anyone, if you can't do damage, if you can't do healing, then your uptime is going to be cooked, right? So then I want you to move to a different angle where you would be able to actually see people. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this helpful, check out the link in the description. It might interest you. And I'll see you guys next video. Peace.